combination of things. All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos from, apparently it's chilly, Huntington. The weather's been a mixed bag today. It's warm, it's cool, it's wet, it's dry, but it's the last week of winter, and we're heading towards spring and the month of Nisan. So lots happening, and regardless of the weather, we are here for Shabbat. And we have Diane. She's going to light the candles for us. She's going to bench licht.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's continue moving in Kabbalah Shabbat, welcoming Shabbat. Page 6, let's have a responsive reading in English. Page 6. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship.
May it welcome all who have cares and burden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity.
May its threshold be a stumbling block, young straying feet.
May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness.
May the synagogue be throng to enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
All right, we'll continue with Kabbalah Shabbat, page 20. Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Yishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mikor ha'bracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech yemelucha, Kumi tzimi tochafecha, Rav lahach shevet b'yemech baka, Hu yachamol alaychem Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Itna ari me'afar kumi, Livshi bigdei tifartecha, Al yad ben ishai beit halachmi, Korva el nafshi ge'ala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitorari, Kiva ore kumi ori, Uri shir daberi, Kvod Adonai alayk nikla, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lo tevoshi v'lo tikolvi, Mahatish tochachi matehemi, V'yechesu aniyeh ami, B'ni hivnetayir al tila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. V'hayu l'shimsa shohosayich, V'rahacha ku kol mevalayich, Yasis alayich Elohayich, Ki himsos chatan al kala, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Yamin u'smol tifrotzi, Yet Adonai ta'aritzi al yadish ben partzi v'nismecha v'nagila lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabila boi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha ufsola toch emunei gam segula boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabila. Let's turn to page 22 for some verses from Psalm 92, the Psalm for Shabbat. And let's read the top English paragraph, the outdented English paragraph together. A psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night. With a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together, you have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai, how very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. Tzadika tahamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanon yiskeh shetuli beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yahafrichu ojenuhu neseva deshenim vera'ananim yihiyu lehayi ki ashar Adonai tzuri velo avlatabo. And we'll close Kabbalat Shabbat out, although this traditionally is at the beginning of the service when we welcome the angels at the beginning of the service. But on page 24, we'll close out Kabbalat Shabbat with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 146. We'll begin the evening service, the Arvit service for Shabbat, with Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Let's read together on 147 the three paragraphs in English for the first bracha before the Shema. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Haravim. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha Havta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, B'shochdenu uvkumeinu, Nasiach bechukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, Uv'mitzvotecha, Le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayenu, V'yorech yameinu, V'yorech yameinu, Uvahem nehegeh yomam v'layla, yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavat techal tasir mimenu li'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta ha'et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol v'cha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol me'odecha, v'hayu advarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavecha, hayom al vavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uv'lektecha b'derech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha, ukshartam la'ot al yadecha, v'hayu l'totafot bein einecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uv'isharecha, leman tizkeruhu v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'tem kedoshim le'loechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem l'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Page 151, let's read responsively. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
Yet that oneness is our grasp is imperfection and evil bound.
Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul.
When will redemption come?
When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves.
Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
We learn God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom.
Top of 152. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nohora tehilot, nohosef ele, malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokeyam lifnei Moshe, zeli anu v'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'nemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, u'ga'alo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Top page 153, the top two lines of Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, Ha'amideinu shomreinu lechayim. Ashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu lehalam. Ha'amideinu shomreinu lechayim. And let's read the paragraph in English together. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, aporei suchat shalom aleinu. V'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Top of page 154, verses from the book of Shemot, part of last week's Torah portion. Vishamru, it's not Shabbat without Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, B'nei Yisrael, oti li'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, Asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. We're at the centerpiece, the central prayer of the evening service, the Amidah. Pages 155, 156, and 157 we'll chant together. Then afterwards, you can complete the Amidah on your own, whether reading the Hebrew, reading the English translations, or offering up your own prayer at that time. But we'll begin together on page 155. Adonai sifatai tiftach uviyagi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach uviyagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Ha'gibor Ha'nora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim Vekonei HaKol V'zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imahot U'mevii Goel Livnei B'neihem Leman Shemo B'ahava Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magid Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor elam Adonai, Mechaye metim atah Rav lehoshia. Mashiv haruach, Umorid hagashem. Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechaye metim berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayeh emunato lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al givuros, Umidom melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzliach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, V'chayei hametim. Still finishing up your Amidah, please continue at your own pace. We're going to jump up to 160, and we'll read this paragraph together in English, middle of 160. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 163, a little bit of Hoda'ah, a little bit of Thanksgiving. Top of 163, we'll read responsively. For the good in us which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise.
For the desire in us which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful.
For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise to the source of being.
And we'll close out, as always, the Amidah with a prayer for peace. In the evening, it is Shalom Rav. Top of 164. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam V'tov be'enecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael V'chol עת ובכל שעה V'shlomecha Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Tasim Leolam Tasim Leolam. Praise to you, Adonai, who blesses your people, Israel, with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom. Page 253, we'll continue in the middle with the Mishaberach. If you have anyone who needs some healing, keep them in your thoughts as we prepare for Mishaberach. Mishaberach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Laimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Pages 258 and 259, we'll jump ahead a little bit, and prayers of our community. And Doc, would you give us top of page 258, the prayer for our congregation?
The source of all being, may the children of this community learn their passions from us, love of Torah, devotion and prayer in support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who reach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Mari, prayer for our country.
Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry, and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness.
Shalom, shalom, Yerushalayim, Yishlayu, Ohovayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Avinu, Shabashamayim, Tzur Yisrael, V'golo, Varech et Medinat Yisrael, Reishit Tzmichat Ge'ulatenu. Hagein Aleha, B'yevrat Chastecha, Ufros Aleha, Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Urachab Amitecha, L'Rasheha, Sareha, V'yoetzeha. ותכנן בעצה טובה מלפניך, ונתת שלום בארץ, ושמחת עולם ליושביה, ונאמר Amen. Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love, spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and the fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. Hi, friends. Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos. This week we get a double parsha, Vayakel and Pikudei. This is one of 7 sets of parshiot that are often read together. They're read together when it's not a leap year, and this year is not a leap year. So we get them, separately on leap years, but together on non-leap years. And these are also the last parshiot of the book of Shemot. So we are just getting ready to leave the children of Israel in the desert for a little bit, and then have this pause in the middle with the book of Leviticus, which we will pick up next week. But Vayakel is another command. It starts off with another command to observe Shabbat. And this time the emphasis is on not working. Right? The children of Israel early on were commanded to remember Shabbat, but now they're getting laws that have to deal with what you can and cannot do on Shabbat. And the rabbis will later develop 39 malachot, 39 different types of labor that are prohibited on Shabbat. Once again, reflecting back onto what happened a couple of weeks ago, Moshe asks Bnei Yisrael to donate gifts for the Mishkan: gold, silver, and copper, precious stones, fine linens, wood, oil, and spices. Betzael and Oholiov are the skilled craftsmen who will oversee the construction, and they're going to report to Moshe. And the first report is that the children of Israel have given too much. They've given so much that the craftsmen can't use it all, so Moshe tells them to stop. Imagine having a fundraiser in which you have to tell the people to stop giving. Other craftsmen will work on the cloths, the tanks, the bars, the curtains, the screens, the menorot, the lamps, the altars, and the priestly garments. Not a lot of action going on. Not a lot of action going on here. A lot of lists, a lot of things a lot of instructions, but not a lot of action. We close out the book of Exodus with Pikudei, and that describes the records kept of all of the work done and the materials that were used. And it's also a record of the gifts and the donations. All right, so if you like lists and things like that, this is your parsha. When the Mishkan's completed, Moshe and Bnei Yisrael celebrate it by anointing it. They pour oil on it, and they offer sacrifices. And God's presence fills the Mishkan. Right? This is the whole point, that the children of Israel would have a place where they could seek God, and God could at least be present for them. They needed the focal point. And a cloud hovers over the sanctuary when God's presence is there. When the cloud lifts, it's a sign for them to follow it, and that God is with them throughout their journeys in the desert. And so the book of Exodus ends on a bit of a high note. They've completed all the work. They're starting to get an idea of what Shabbat will entail for them. And believe it or not, in the 2 parshiot, there was just one mitzvah. It's a lo ta'aseh, it's a do not. And that brings our total up through the first 2 books of the Torah. Total mitzvot 114 at this point. So we are actually wrapping up the month of Adar this week. And it got me thinking about calendars, because it's usually around this time of year that I hear that Passover is either early or Passover is late. And then that translates to about 6 months of the high holidays are early. No, they're late. it's only in relation to the secular calendar that these holidays seem to be early or late. On the Hebrew calendar, they are always on time. 15th of Nisan, Passover. 15th of Tishrei, Sukkot. That's it, right? The two big ones are in the full moons. Shavuot does not fall on a full moon. It's kind of I don't know. They don't treat Shavuot as well as they do treat Passover and Sukkot. But you got to remember that the first mitzvah given to the children of Israel after they came out of Egypt, the first mitzvah as a people that we were given was not to circumcise our sons. It was not to not eat pork. It was to set up a calendar. And this is very significant for our ancestors because it's going to be the first time in 400 years that they were in charge of their own time. And if you have a calendar, you are in charge of your time. Of course, God says, I'm going to fill it with chagim, I'm going to fill it with festivals, but you can think it's yours, but I'm going to keep you busy. It seems, though, when we're talking about the holidays, that they do seem to float, right? But they really don't. Whether they fall in the beginning of September, which they very seldom do, the high holidays. Well, I'll talk about Passover. I'm sorry. Sometimes Passover falls in March. Sometimes it falls towards the end of April. And it does seem like it floats. But they don't. They're on the Hebrew calendar. They are exactly when they are supposed to be. Passover is on a full moon. And so the night of the first Seder, if you go outside and look at the sky, if it's not cloudy, you'll see a full moon. And the reason for the full moon, why we have it on the full moon, is that in days before we had electricity, that gave you extra light outside. That gave you extra brightness. But we don't want the holidays to float. Right? We want to keep them as close to the proper time as possible. And so we add an extra month. An entire month gets added onto our calendars. And, they call that a leap year, right? And to accomplish this, we follow what is called the Metonic cycle. That's just a fancy way of saying that it's a 19-year cycle, and 7 years of those 19 are leap years, right? And so the 3rd, the 6th, and the 8th year, the 11th, the 14th, the 17th, and the 19th years are all leap, which means there's the extra month of Adar. 5783, the year that we are in the 7th year of that cycle. So it is not a leap year. Last year was a leap year. Next year will be a leap year, but this year was not. So just 1 month of Adar. And so the fuss is about the holidays, right? Because if you ask 10 Jews this question, you'll get 10 different opinions. But if you say, are we a solar or a lunar calendar? Most Jews will say, we are on a lunar calendar. Our calendar is a lunar one. But it's actually what they call a lunisolar calendar, Lunisolar. It's a combination of the both. Right? The solar year is 365 and a quarter days long, but the lunar year is approximately 354 days, 11 days shorter than a solar year. And so these extra 11 days would add up if we didn't do something about them, right? 11 days here doesn't seem like much. 11 days there doesn't seem like that much. But 100 years of 11 extra days, Passover is in July. The high holidays are in February, right? And that is forbidden, right? Because when God is giving us the commands to observe the holidays, God says, these are my established times. This is when you're going to do them. You don't, it's not an option, right? I mean, wouldn't it be great if I could just say, Yom Kippur falls on my birthday this year. I'm going to move it to Sunday, right? Because I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it when it's supposed to be done. We do them when they're supposed to be done, and that's why we have this calendar. Passover has to fall in the spring. Doesn't have to fall in the beginning or the end of spring, but it has to fall in the spring. If we don't have this, what they call its intercalation, right? If we don't have this extra time added, Passover would be all over the place. And the Muslim calendar is exactly like that, right? If you look at a Muslim calendar, they do not intercalate their calendar. They do not add an extra month or any extra time. And so that's why Ramadan, in some years, it's in February. Other years, it's in July. Other years, it's in October. It floats around because they don't add up. They are in a true lunar cycle. And what the interesting thing is we have 2 months of Adar in a leap year, Adar 1 and Adar 2. And if you were thinking about this, which one would be the added month? Most will say it has to be, it's Adar 2, right? Because Adar 1 is the actual Adar, and Adar 2 is that extra one. It comes after that. It's the opposite. Adar 2 is the actual Adar. The month, the Adar 1 gets put in front of Adar because Purim has to be a month before Passover. 4 weeks before Passover. And so if it were Adar 1, it would be 8 weeks. And that would throw off the calendar even further. And so, and that plays havoc with yard sites. People get confused. They think that their loved one died in Adar 2 when it was actually passed away in Adar 1 when it was a leap year. But it's that added month really saves us and keeps us from worrying about actually when will the holidays fall. And so we are a little over 3 weeks away from the high holidays, a little from Passover. Later this week, this coming week, we'll be celebrating Rosh Chodesh with the month of Nisan, and then it's 2 weeks away. And a little hint, then, about 6 months later, it's the high holidays. All right, so we are almost halfway through the year. 5783, that is, because the month of Nisan is actually the first month of the calendars. So month number 1 is Nisan, but we're already halfway through the year. So Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos, and an early Chodesh Tov, an early happy Rosh Chodesh. All right, Maury.
Kadoosh.
It's time for the Kiddush. It's Kiddush time. It is Kiddush time. And now I'm worried about the high holidays. They're coming fast. All right, Kiddush for Friday night. Vayivoker Yom HaShishi, Vayachulu HaShamayim v'Haaretz v'chol tzivam, Vayachal Elohim Bayom HaShvi Melachto Asher Asa, Vayishbot Bayom HaShvi Mikol Melachto Asher Asa, Vayavarech Elohim et Yom HaShvi, Vayikadesh Oto Kivo Shavat Mikol Melachto Asher Bara Elohim La'asot. Sabri Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam Borei Peri Gafen. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom techila lamikra'ei kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Shabbat.
Amen.
Page 282, we'll start closing out with Aleinu, page 282. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latei kedula liotze reishit, shalo asanu k'goyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot hadama, shalo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים Hu Eloheinu Einod, Emet Malkeinu Efesu Lato, Kakahatu Betorato, Viadata Hayom Vihashevota, Elevavecha, Ki Adonai Hu Elohim, Bashamayim Mimal, Mi'al haaretz, mitachat eino. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד. ושמו echad. This week we observed the following yard sites: Sophia Cutler, Harry's wife, mother of Anne, Jack, and Ray. Jack Fish, related to Francis. Jacqueline Fish, daughter of J.T. and Charlotte, sister of Francis. Sarah Fish, Pauline's cousin. Murray Klein, Mitch Klein's father. Ella Romer, wife of Bert. Leonard S. Ross, Brant's father. Elaine Angel, wife of Abe. Rosa Levine, Chuck's relative. Al Rothenberg, Joan Lerner's uncle. Hoyt Luther Williams, Judy Lentz's husband. Dr. Larry Gang, Lloyd Frankel's cousin, husband of Shirley, father of David, Robert, and Larry. Harold Ratto, Mickey's husband, father of Judy, Woodruff, and Steve. Herb Siegel, friend of Diane Shaddles. Harry Silverman, Miriam Meadows' uncle. Rhonda Skoll White, Barrett and Elaine's daughter, Diane Skoll's sister. Mayor B. Firestein, father of Stephen. Dodie Frankel, wife of Harold, mother of Linda and Ann Allen. Mark Glick, related to Herb Kolker. David H. Goldberg, husband of Pearl, father of Betty Ann. Irving Isidore, friend of Brant Ross. Mildred Klein, Mitch Klein's grandmother. Charlotte Poland, Joan Weisberg's mother's sister-in-law. Edward Woodruff, Ed's father. Joan Lerner, wife of Isaac, mother of Jan, Judy, and Bob. Etta Steinberg, wife of Jack, mother of Paul Jacobson, Mark with a C, Mark with a K, and Adam. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May their memories be a blessing to us always, and may they all rest in peace. Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 294. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, Ba'alma divrach irute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah v'vorach l'olam l'omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal. Shmei t'kudsha brichu. Le'elam im kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Ta'amiram ba'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. All right, friends. Shabbat shalom and good Shabbos. It is a couple of quick announcements before we head out and go to the Oneg, and that's sponsored this week by Diane Shadows, Susie Brodoff, and Cheryl Hirsch. 3 of them this week. 3. This Shabbat is also Shabbat HaChodesh. It's the last of the 4 special Shabbatot before Passover, and it's as a Shabbat before Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Save the date, April 6th. It's a Thursday night. That's our second night Seder. Lots of planning is going on, and it's going to be a great, great evening. The raffle is coming up. That is near, that's the end of May, middle of May, beginning of May. April. April, that's right. April, the raffle. If you're buying tickets, buy. If you're selling tickets, sell. If you're selling and buying, that's the way to do it. This past week, my shul email has been down. Google is just being Google. And so if you sent me an email and it got bounced back to you, wait until you hear that the email is back up and then send it to me again. Any other meetings this week?
Not that I know of.
All right. No, I don't know of any other meetings either. I do have another gift from Hadar. I think it was last week, I put out the Pesach guides. This is a fun thing for families and kids of all age. It's called a Magid map, and it's kind of a little bit of a tour through the Seder. And so it's colorful. It's got questions to discuss. It's got some vocabulary. It's got all sorts of good things. So they'll be here. I'm going to put them at the back. They'll be in the back of the chapel next to the guide, and then they will be available during the week when the office is open. So do come by and get your Magid map and your Pesach guide, and they'll help to enhance your Seder. So, didn't cost us anything. Hadar graciously sends them to the rabbis who request them. So. All right, we'll close out page 321 with Adon Olam. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa B'chefso Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nivra V'yacharei Lichlot HaKol Levado Imloch Nohora Vehu haya, vehu hove, vehu yeh b'tifara, vehu echad, v'ein sheni, להמשילו, להחמירה, בלי ראשית, בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא אלי, וחי גואלי. וצורב לי בעת צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא בידו, אפקיד רוחי. בעת אישן ביעירה, ועם רוחי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא. Looks like we have a couple of people saying good evening to us via the interwebs. And we have David Johnson. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, David. There's Mom. Shabbat Shalom to all from Rabbi's Mom and Cliff. Thanks, Mom and Cliff. Same to you. Wishing all a peaceful weekend and a great weekend ahead. Thanks, Mom. Looking forward to having you down here again. All right, friends, lots going on. Don't forget, keep your eye open for emails announcing the Seders and things like that. This evening we had our Tiny Human Shabbat, and we have a lot of fun there at 5:30. And so we hope to see you soon. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos, and please be safe out there.
Amen. Judy and Woodward said hello.